Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Talk Time with Pastor Krista on this beautiful Tuesday morning. I'm so happy that you joined me today. Today we're going to be talking about something good and something that feels good. We're going to be talking about happiness and joy. Now, some people think happiness and joy are really the same thing, but actually they're very different from one another. Happiness is something that we do to bring ourselves a good feeling inside of us. So we do things to make ourselves happy. It's kind of a responsibility we have for ourselves. We can either be sad or we can be happy. And certainly we're all sad at some points, but there's always something you can do to bring a little happiness into your life. But these are all things that we do for ourselves. But joy is a little different. Joy is something that we find in Jesus Christ. Joy is something that God gives to us by our actions. So let me tell you the difference between happiness and joy by giving you some examples. So here I have a container, and this container is going to be us. And I've got it filled with a little blue water just so you can kind of see the difference. Now, I am going to take this turkey baster, which I usually only use at Thanksgiving time, but it's coming in handy today. And I am going to fill up my cup with things that make me happy. So what I did in front of me is I have all kinds of things that make the people in my family happy. So I'm going to fill up my cup with what makes Kathleen happy. So Kathleen, there you go, is an avid reader. She loves to read, and this is the book she's currently reading right now. And reading makes Kathleen happy. Then I'm going to go over here and I am going to fill part of this cup up with some weights because this represents exercise and I love to exercise. So I grab my weights and I exercise and that makes me happy. It makes me feel good. Now I'm going to grab this Xbox controller, and this Xbox controller is what makes Sam happy. So you know Sam's staying with us and he's visiting during this quarantine time, and he plays a lot of Xbox with Mike, and that makes him very, very happy. Then I have this Frisbee, and this is kind of a different Frisbee. It's for Frisbee golf, and this is what makes my stepson Dylan happy. He loves to play Frisbee, and he's really good at it. So Frisbee is something that makes him happy. And then I have, where did my chocolate cupcake go? This is for the big guy. My husband loves sweets, and chocolate cupcakes are his thing, and so chocolate cupcakes make him happy. And then we've got one more. Who are we forgetting? We are forgetting Michael. So what makes Michael happy? What makes Michael happy is Sour Patch Kids. He loves those. So now I have a cup that is almost full with everything that makes us happy. So now if this was my cup and I said, well, this is great because all this makes me happy, but I'm not quite filled up yet. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at joy. Because happiness is something that's kind of short-lived. Because if you think about it, you finish the book is done, and you're not reading it anymore, right? So when Kathleen's done with this book, there goes her happiness, right? When when Sam is done with the Xbox controller, playing Xbox, the game's over, you're done. If it's raining out, Dylan can't play Frisbee golf, so there's that happiness, right? And I just had a little surgery on my eye, and I couldn't exercise for a while. That did not make me too happy. And guess what? This is the last cupcake, and when this is gone, Ken is not going to be happy. And Michael can eat one of these every week. And usually it doesn't last till Friday. So when the Sour Patch Kids are gone, oh, Michael's not going to be happy. But joy is different because joy is something that we do for God and that God gives to us. Kind of goes back and forth. It works hand in hand, and that lasts forever. So this bucket of rocks here is going to represent joy. And I'm going to pour some of them out here, and I'm going to add some joy to my cup of life. So, did you ever read a Bible story once and you think it's kind of a cool Bible story, but then you read it again and it just kind of fills your heart up because something happens and you really understand it, right? If you have a good voice, or even if you don't really have a good voice like me, but you love singing God's praises, that brings us joy. That brings me joy. If you know someone who is hurt and you really want to help them, it doesn't just bring the other person joy, but it brings you joy as well. I love spending family time together with my family. That brings me great joy. So family time brings me a little joy. Now you can see as I start filling this up with joy, look what happens. So next, let's say that you do something to show the love of God to someone else. That is a joy-filled action. Let's say that someone is very sick and that times were different and we could visit. If we went to visit somebody who wasn't feeling well, or just somebody who was feeling a little lonely and needed a little conversation and pick-me-up, that is spreading God's joy. What would happen if you volunteered somewhere? Let's say that you volunteered to go down and serve meals to people who don't have a lot of food. That's joy-filled. I know something we did on Sunday. Lots of people from church made sandwiches for St. Luke's Mission. That brings God joy. And if you are putting on a pair of pants and they're a little too short and you think, wow, these pants are still in awesome condition, so I'm going to give them to somebody else who might want to wear them. That brings God joy. When Kathleen and Mike were little, I told them if you hadn't played with a toy in about a year, it's going to a child who would appreciate it and can play with it. So we would donate those toys, and that brings God joy. The other thing is donating food. At our church, we have a food pantry, right? And that brings God joy. Now watch what's going to happen pretty soon. All of these things that bring God joy not only fill up our cups, but eventually it will make our cup flat out overflow. So let's think of something else that brings joy to God. What would happen if, let's see, something we do, oh, I know. Our willing workers at church, they make school kits and they send them to children in countries where they don't have school supplies. Joy, uh-oh, what's starting to happen? I think we've got some things overflowing. Our men's group, you know what they do? They offer a scholarship to a college student so that they can get a good education. More joy. You can see what happens. It just overflows and overflows. And God's joy, that kind of joy lasts forever. So think of the difference between happiness. All of these things, they don't last forever. But God's joy that you fill yourself up with, it doesn't just last forever, it lasts forever and it overflows. So when you have some time on your hands today and you, or in the next week or two, and you need to decide, am I going to do something that just makes me happy, or am I going to do something that fills me up with God's joy? Make a really careful decision about that. Good to do things that make you happy, but really important to do things that bring you joy. Because when you do that, your cup overflows onto other people. And that's our message for today, boys and girls. I hope that you enjoyed that. So we are going to sing, I've got the joy, joy, joy. So here we go. You should know this one by now, so I want to hear everybody singing with me. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Down in my heart, I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I am happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Yes, I am happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, my favorite part. And if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on a tack. Ow, sit on a tack. Ow, sit on a tack. And if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on a tack. Ow, sit on a tack all day. 'Cause I am happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Yes, I am happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. So see, I'm not a great singer, but singing brings me joy and it makes my cup overflow. And I know that you enjoy singing with me. So thank you for joining me today, everybody. Thursday, we have another talk time. So let's do our benediction together. Ready? My heart loves your heart because Jesus first loved us. So you have a wonderful sunny day. Fill yourselves up with things that bring you joy, and we will see you on Thursday.